Hey everyone, it's Quick here, doing a walkthrough of the newest feature of my leveling guide overlay. We're actually not going to be in Path of Exile today. We're going to do all of this using third-party tools. So let's get started. After you've run the leveling guide, you can right-click on its icon in the system tray and select Edit Build. Now this is just the default build, and I'll show you how to create a new build a little later in the video, but let's just do a layout overview real quick. So I'll start with the item groupings. They go in order. This is the order that they will be shown from left to right, top to bottom in the gem setup. The actual items don't matter. You know, if you put something in your helmet, it could eventually go in your gloves. That's fine. This is just logical for you to make sure that you don't have four groups of four, right? You're not trying to put something in an item set that doesn't exist. Now this also means you have to keep track of the items that you're using. So if you have a 6-link main hand, you don't also have a 3-link offhand. So it's really up to you to make sure that your gems are organized in a way that is actually going to fit in your gear. This is just a logical grouping. It doesn't enforce anything. Now, it also means you can put notes or gems anywhere you'd like. So we could throw another gem right here, and it doesn't actually care that this is part of a main hand. In fact, it would show 2 linked sockets, a socket or a gem by itself, and then another gem by itself. Even though this is part of a single main hand, it doesn't automatically link these all together. It also removes white space. So in this example, these two would be shown a single space, this gem, a single space, and this gem. And if we remove it, it will just show the 2 base gems that we start with, and then a space and this 1 gem that we're purchasing. So it will remove white space. You can also put things other than gems here. If you want to give yourself a reminder to look for an extra green socket, you could do so. Or to level something in your offhand. Now, any notes that you put here or any text you put here that has no color will by default be white. So you can, put a hex value here if you wanted it to be green, or you can just write the word. Either one works. Let's look at the controls real quick. So clear removes all of the gem information for the current level. Load lets you load in all of the information from any level gem file. This is normally useful for importing information from another build, so you don't have to use this build. I could go to a different folder, but we're going to use it right now just to get 2 back. Save saves the changes that you've made, so that clear actually didn't save anything since I didn't hit save. And then close would just close the build creator. It'll also ask you to save if you try and leave or change levels and you haven't hit the save button yet. But if you don't like the pop-up, you just make sure to hit that button and it won't yell at you. Over here we have character name. This is really only important if you're leveling in a group. By default, the tool just looks for the text is now level and will set your level to that level for experience purposes and for gem setup purposes. But if you're running in a group and one of your teammates or party members levels up, that gets logged to your client file. And so my tool would pick it up and assume that's your level. So in order to avoid that, if you put a character name here, it will look for character name is now level. Now this is great until you spell your character name wrong. If you do not have your character name spelled correctly, then you will lose the auto leveling features, such as the experience and the gems. And so you can still set those manually, but I get this question a lot, why did it stop auto leveling up for me? You probably spelled your character name wrong. And this is character name, not account name. So if you've got two characters using the same build, you need to make sure to either leave this blank or change the character name. I would expect you to have a separate build for different characters, but if that's not the case, just make sure to update that field here within the build guide. So I designed this so that you can plan your build using this tool. As such, I've added filters based on gem tags. So let's look at that real quick. One of the ones I assume will be popular is this new gems tag. So this would show all of the new gems added in this league for harvest. And let's say I really want to look at all of the brand skills that are new. Here are the new brand skills in this league. And perhaps I want to just look at brand skills. I don't want the new ones. I want all of them. I can see all of them. So you can use any combination of up to 2 filters to narrow down the gems that you're looking at. You'll notice I used the all group. The all group is, as it sounds, all of the gems available in Path of Exile, regardless of class or level. So I could go here and get advanced traps. Now, when you select a gem, or if you type it, it will automatically set color, the NPC that you can purchase it from, and if it's higher level than you are currently, it will show the level at which you get it. If you are at that level, which one here? All right, I don't know which ones are at this level. Let's find out. Burning arrow. If you select one at your level, it will show you the cost to purchase it instead of the level at which you get it. I automatically set these fields anytime you change gem or change group. Now, you can change the text. For example, right, let's say you want to make it shorter. That's fine, it's not going to update it. It only updates it when you remove all of the text or specifically select from the dropdown. So after you've set that, you can change the color, change the NPC, or change the node, and it will persist. Any value that's in the NPC column will be put in brackets to show you where to purchase that gem from, or where to pick up a quest if it's part of a quest reward. And then the note will be shown in parentheses, and this is by default the level or the cost, but you could put any note you want there, or remove the note entirely. If there's no note, it won't show anything. All right, so this all group, like I said, is a catch-all. I recommend not using it most of the time because it doesn't actually do any checks based on your class or your level. So you may put a gem in there, let's say Blight. Oops, Blight. And it says I can get it from Nessa for wisdom. So that means it's a level 2 gem and I should be able to get it. But as a duelist, I actually don't have access to it. Now, how would I know that? Well, it should be in one of the actual available groups. So the group that I like to do first is the quests. So the quests are always going to be the quest names. So they'll be the ones that have, multiple words. All the other vendors or inventory is just one word, but these multiple word groups are always quest names. So we can select that quest. Again, it auto updates the NPC. So Tarkley is who gives you the reward for enemy at the gate. So that's who you go talk to make sure you pick up these gems. And these are the gems that we can get. You'll notice I don't auto remove this gem for you just because it's not in here, but you can see by going to the drop down which ones are available and choose to select one. Or let's see if we can find where Blight is. If it's not available from a quest, the next obvious option is from a vendor. Nessa is the vendor for level 2. So obviously when you get to, level or act 2, you'd have Yina, and then act 3 would be Clarissa and so on. But for this act at level 2, Nessa would be the vendor. and we can go and see all of the gems that she sells that are level 2. Blight is not in this list. So what about our inventory? These are all of the gems that you should have access to already. So either have received from a quest or purchased. At level 2, the only items that we've received from quests are the tutorial items. So again, Blight's also not there. Well, this brings us to where it most likely is. If it's not in your inventory, a vendor, or the quest, it's probably available from Siosa. And of course, there it is. Now, the Siosa group is really just to check and make sure or show you really what gems are unavailable. You wouldn't use this group until you get up to a level where you can actually unlock Siosa, which is probably at least level 26. For most people, it will be higher than that, but it's really just a sanity check. So if you see a gem in his group, it means your class can't get it yet. So you should not put that in your build unless you have some way of achieving it from a mule or on the trade site. All right, let's see what happens when we go to a new level. So when we go to 4, so this is the pop-up I was talking about. I'm going to choose not to save the changes. You'll notice that the gem that I purchased, Frostblades, automatically gets put in inventory. This is because it's already purchased, right? I don't need to go pick it up from anyone. So I just want to see it so that I can see the links. You'll notice I have my quest, reward, mercy mission, and then I need to go buy a gem from Nessa. At level 4, you actually get 2 rewards from breaking some eggs. So that's something you have to know. Or if you don't know that, you should be following a build guide, and it will tell you which gems to pick up from where. You can just then input that into this tool. So let's look now. If we go here, Nessa is still the vendor. These gems are now all of the gems she sells at level 4. The level 2 gems are not here anymore. They are all in inventory. So you'll notice the inventory has grown. Siosa is a little different. He is now going to show all of the gems from 4 and 2 that you don't have access to. So this will get much bigger as you level up. And again, you don't really want to be using this group, just like you don't want to be using all. It's really just a sanity check to show you what you don't have access to. So if you can't find it in one of the quests, a gem you're looking for, and you can't find it from a vendor or from your inventory, check Siosa. If it's there, you don't have access to it. You can look all this information up on the wiki as well, but it's just nice to have it in one spot while you're planning your build. The only other group that's available are these drop onlys. These are the Val skill gems, as well as Empower, Enhance, and Enlighten. If you select one, I default to saying you need to trade for it, but if you're not in a trade league, you could obviously just corrupt the actual gem. So let's look at an example of how we'd find this. So where would I find Glacial Hammer? Let's look. We'll go to all. So again, it's useful for looking up things. It's not recommended to keep it in all, but if we look for Glacial Hammer, we can see it's from Nessa. So let's go to Nessa and see if I can buy it. I can't. Let's see if it's available from Mercy Mission. It's not. Let's see, Breaking Some Eggs. It's not. So let's check Siosa and see if he sells it. It's still not there. Is it in my inventory? It is. So I should have been able to get access to it at level 2. So we can actually go back to level 2 and see there I could purchase Glacial Hammer at level 2 from Nessa. So you could purchase it here and then write a note to yourself to turn it into a Val skill later. And then in a later level, just make sure to then put in your skill. Cool. And you could obviously also, if you still had from your inventory Glacial Hammer, you could also just come over here and type val, right? You don't need to go select it from drop only. It's not going to reset anything. You just then need to leave yourself a note that you're corrupting this. So once you've selected a group, you can change anything in the gems. I'm not going to reset your notes over here. Again, that only happens when you change groups or when you select a gem from the drop down. Then I automatically set the color, an NPC if it's appropriate, and a note if it's appropriate. Okay, let's look at creating a new build now. So we will close this, and we don't want to save our changes. You create a new build from the settings menu. Up here in the build section, we can create a new build. We'll give it a name. Now, it's going to be a copy of whatever build we're in. So if I want to create a copy of a different build, I could browse and select a different build first. Right? For example, if I want to copy the Gladiator, I could select it first. Now this new build will be a copy of the Gladiator build. And that just means it's going to copy all of the text notes, but it will reset all of the gems and let me plan a fresh build. So this would be something useful to use load for, to load it in if I want to keep some of the base items, or if I want to plan it fresh, I could. When you hit new build, edit build will also just open the current build that you have open. It's the same as selecting edit build from the system tray. But if I hit new build, it's going to give you a warning that says the same thing I just said. Basically, it's a copy of your current build. That's fine. Give it a second to actually copy everything over. It doesn't take long, but you'll see it update here when it's ready. And now we can hit edit build, or we could again do it from the system tray. You'll notice it starts off completely empty. So you can start by looking at your inventory, see what items you get from the tutorial, decide if you want to keep them. I recommend starting by looking at the quest and just saying, hey, you know, I feel like playing Molten Strike from this quest. And let's see if I can get a good support for it. Nope, not at this level. All right, so that's probably all I need. Maybe from the inventory I can keep Chance to Bleed. Cool. So you'll see I picked this quest out from Tarkley. I already have this, and now I can go to the next level. Since all of the gem files were deleted, in fact, if I hit load, it might show it. Yep, you can see that there are no gem files here. It's only this one that I've created. So when I go to level 4, it's actually going to create, yes, I do want to save this time. It is going to create a gem level 4 file. So you'll see it created it, and it's just a copy of 2, but it's updated the group for me. So now this is in my inventory because I already purchased it. And so here I could go and say, what do I get from Mercy Mission? Well, that's a support, so we'll put it over here. Onslaught, and then breaking some eggs. Got to get that dash. And then in my gloves, decoy totem. That looks good, right? And you could obviously plan this out as you go. And select items. Again, you can do this from a build guide. If you're using a Zizaran guide, he puts everything in the notes so you can see at what level exactly which items to get. He even shows you who sells it and the quest name, so that's pretty helpful. If you're doing it from a forum, you can go to a leveling section. They often have that same information. So here we get Arcane Surge, and then we're gonna, buy Orb of Storms. Or, in this one, it shows you, let's, there you go, get Blight, Flame Dash, looking for blue. So your guide should tell you basically what you want to be getting. And using this editor allows you to put that in so you get that information as you reach that level rather than having to go back and check the guide over and over again. Worth noting, I have by default all of the levels at which you get gems, with the notable lacking exceptions being level 10 and level 18. And that's simply because you normally complete that quest around the same time as you complete 8 anyway. So I just put the 8 quests and the 10 quests together, and I put the 16 and 18 quests together. So we could go look at that real quick. And you notice those get moved into inventory now. That's awesome. But you'll see we've got Intruders in Black, which is a level 16 quest, and Sharp and Cool, which is the 18 quest. But since you'll normally complete that around the same level, I just want to show it to you early so you can know what to pick up when you complete that quest. All right. So that's how to create a build going forward. What if we go and look up a build online, right? We just go to PoE Ninja and we select a build. And so we don't have any build guide. We just know what the links are going to look like. Well, we'd probably want to create a build going backwards. So let's start with our default. And we'll create one called backwards, new build. Yep. Give that a second to load. There we go. We can edit. Now, I'm going to start up here at level, we could go all the way to 90. 72 is where you get access to Awakened gems. 55 is just around when you get access to all of the gems that you could possibly buy from Lily. And then 38 is the actual last quest that awards you gems. So we'll start there. So let's look at this build in particular. We'll just actually do it. Now this is for a Templar, so let's make sure we set our class properly. And we will say kinetic blast and elemental damage with attacks, added cold and added lightning damage. It's got greater multiple projectiles and inspiration. Cool. So by using this all group, I can see exactly who sells it and the cost. So you could figure things out that way. But like I said, I don't recommend all most of the time. So I'm actually going to set all these to my inventory because by 38, I should have been able to get all of these. And we can go through and make sure that it's still in there. All right, this one's not. So let's see if that's reward here. It is. That's awesome. That's in my inventory, and you see it highlights it if it's actually in the group. Because again, I could have anything I want here, and it's not going to show. But if you've got a valid gem name, it'll show you, it'll highlight it in the group. Cool, so now I know this is what it looks like at 38. Now, again, if we go to load, you'll see I've only got 38 here. So I don't have a 34. So if I go to 34, it's going to create a copy of 38, but again, it'll update the groups for me. So you'll notice that Eternal Nightmare's not there, so it's going to set that to all and show me that it's a 38 gem. So I can just get rid of that, right? I don't want that there. Looks like these are all still valid, and I'd move this guy up, put him in my inventory. And notice again, I clear the NPC and note, but you could put those back if you wanted them. So let's try at 31. Cool, so this one got put in all, which means it's not available in the inventory. Let's see if Fixture Fate is where I get it. Nope. Do I have to buy it from Siosa? I do. Cool, so now I know where I get that gem. And I can now go to, let's jump down a few just to do this a little faster. Yes, save the changes. Cool, so that's in all. All right, let's gonna get rid of Kinetic Blast, which is less than fun, but we'll delete this guy. And we'll say maybe instead of using Kinetic Blast up until 28 when I can actually get it, maybe I level with something else. Let's see, what's another good skill? has a Templar. Maybe I liked Glacial Hammer when I first started with. All right, elemental damage. Let's see where that comes from. Looks like Ina sells it. Perfect. Does she sell added cold? Nope. Pretty sure that should have been in my inventory. Because I thought I get that from Nessa. Is that Siosa? It is. So again, we can see that even though this gem is available at level 16, I can't get it until I make it to Siosa. So I wouldn't actually have access to this gem. So again, that's the benefit of, that group. And then added lightnings in my inventory because I get that from Nessa. So again, using this method, you could theoretically deconstruct a build to figure out what it should look like at lower levels. You probably have to have a good working knowledge of Path of Exile. So I highly recommend only doing this if you're using it to copy a build or create one build guide for someone else. If you've already got a level 90 character and you want to take it, snapshot it, and bring it backwards. All right, the last thing I want to go over, I know this video is getting long, is trees. So let's say I've created this build and now I want to create some trees for it. And by trees, I mean skill trees. So if you were using a PoE Ninja skill tree, you could just take a screenshot of the heat map and save that in the axe as, so here we'll go to builds. And in each of the axe, you'll notice there's a tree.jpg. So you could just take a screenshot of that heat map and save it as tree.jpg, or change the name, right, to tree.png. As long as you make sure to set that in your settings, you can set that name to whatever you'd like. Now you've only got one image, obviously, if you copy it from PoE Ninja. So just put it in Act 1 and remove it from all the other acts, or put it in all of the acts. But if you only have one, it'll use the last available one. So as long as you have it in Act 1, then Act 2 will use Act 1s, and Act 3 will use Act 1s, etc. Or again, if you want to be safe, you can just put it in all of the acts. What if you've got a build guide? So if you're using something like Zizarin's build guide, he actually puts all of the trees, or a lot of the trees, as separate point allocations. So you could take this 12 points and put it in Act 1, this 25 points and put it in Act 2. The easiest way I've found to do that is to put it inside of PoE skill tree. So how do I get it from Path of Building to PoE skill tree? Well, you can hit export tree. It gives you this link. We'll copy it, and then we can paste it down here, hit load tree, and we've got the same tree. We can then go to tools, take screenshot, and here I can overwrite that tree in the appropriate build. Right? I won't do that now, but that's how I get a copy of it. It's very quick and easy to go from a Path of Building to have all of the trees that you want. Or you could just plan your tree here if that works. Or you can take a screenshot. If you really like the way Path of Building looks instead, you could take just a screenshot and do cut and paste and select using Paint yourself. It's up to you. What about other builds? Well, here we go. This is Anki's Arc build. He actually uses passive trees from Path of Exile. So you can just take that official website, copy it, paste it in here, load, and now I've got it. And I can do that tool, take a screenshot again. This is Thien's Bane Occultist. He uses PoE Planner. And so if I look at that target tree, here using PoE Planner, it's also got an export button. So we can just copy, paste, load, and I've got it. So again, no matter what tool you're using to plan your tree, you can probably import it into PoE skill tree and take that screenshot where it automatically crops it for you. And I just think it looks really good. So that's my suggestion. Just make sure you then have a tree for each of the acts. So, or if you just want to put your full tree in at Act 1, you can do that as well. Okay, that's everything. So thank you guys for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, I'm impressed. You can log issues on GitHub. This is still a very new feature, so I'm sure you'll find some. You can also send a message to me on Reddit at JusKillmeQik. If you go through the trouble of making one of these builds and you'd like to add it to the repository, just send me a Google Drive link of your build folder zipped up and I'll consider adding it. So I'd like that whole build folder so that I have the notes that you've added, the text notes, if you've done anything custom there. If not, if you're just using the default, that's fine. But I'd like it to have trees for all of the acts, and then obviously a well set up gem file. So if you do that and you'd like it added, you can send me that link. I'll consider it and add it if it looks really good. I hope this tool makes it fast and easy for you to plan your leveling build. I know this takes a lot of hours for a lot of people. For some, playing this game is almost as fun as actually playing Path of Exile. But hopefully this makes it a little bit faster for you to plan your build and then to level it or share it with others. I'll see you all in maps. Cheers.